Today is Saturday, which means it is Park Run Day, and we are here in South Australia, Adelaide, to complete Oaklands Estate Reserve Park Run. So today they're going to be celebrating their 200th anniversary, and I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about this park run whilst trying to achieve my best time. Oaklands Estate Reserve Park Run is located within the wetlands to the southwest side of the CBD, and it is all flat, and it is also a two-lapper, and it is all on hard standing surface paths. So therefore, I recommend taking road shoes. You do not need trail shoes for this park run, as there is no sections on any other terrains. It is also good to note that the park run is buggy/pram friendly. It is dog friendly too, and there are public toilets right next to the start line. So there's two of them literally located within 20 meters from the start, so you don't need to worry about that. In terms of the scenery, the park run is a stunning one, and as it is in the wetlands, there is actually lots of wildlife too in the wetlands itself, so you definitely need to go and check that out after. The park run is also very flat too, so there is a good chance of getting a PB at this course. However, there are a few U-turns and sharp turns, so do be very wary of those, as they can take a few seconds off of your time. The park run is also pretty busy, so do be wary of that. And if you're trying to get a PB on the day, then I'd say get out towards the front. Otherwise, you might get stuck behind a few people, especially at the start. But before we do go any further, if you don't know what a park run is, it is essentially a 5K run, which is ran by a group of volunteers who both time and marshal the event. When you hit the finish line, you'll be given a finish token that will be scanned alongside your own personalised barcode, of which you'll then be sent your time and position later on. And now let's take a quick look at a summary of the course. So as you can see in that top left-hand corner, it is very flat with an elevation gain of just 6 meters. You can also see there are plenty of U-turns on this course too, which will slow you down, but most of it is run alongside a culvert, so it is very easy and very straightforward to follow. So hopefully you can get a quick time at this one. So that is a quick summary of the course, but now it is time to take a look at it in a bit more detail. So you're going to start off right next to the public toilets and the car park here and head your way towards the west. You'll get to a little footbridge which you'll cross, and then you are next to the culvert. So you're going to run all the way down the river to the south side and then do a U-turn at that end before heading your way all the way to the north side. So this is really flat and a good chance to get a bit of pace going. You'll then do a U-turn at the north side and you'll pass the Oaklands Education Centre, still heading your way down alongside the culvert before doing a sharp left-hand turn back on that footbridge. You'll then follow the park round, passing the public toilets and heading your way down towards the south. So this part is around some trees. Pretty tight path in this section too. Well, I mean, most of it is a pretty tight path anyway. You'll do a U-turn once you get to the south of this bit, head your way back up to the north, and then you'll pass that start line and do that lap for a second time. So crossing the footbridge, doing the 2 U-turns, one at the bottom there and one at the top there, and then heading your way back over the bridge, doing the same again on the eastern side too, before turning off to the left-hand side here and heading onto the grass section here too. And we actually had a stumble at the end right next to me too, which we'll have a look at a bit later on. But it is a really simple course to follow, and there are volunteers at all the different sections where you can go wrong. But it's pretty much straight up on the west-hand side, straight up on the east-hand side, and then you are done. So pretty simple. That is a description of the course, but now it is time to take a look at some incredible stats which have been set over the 200 park runs here at Oaklands Estate Reserve Park Run. Starting off with the fastest male, who is Torben Roberts with a time of 15 minutes and 12 seconds. So that is incredibly fast. The fastest female is Flora Johnson with a time of 18 minutes and 31 seconds. So again, a really quick time. The average number of runners is 237, so it's not too busy a park run, especially compared to the 2 which we've done so far here in Australia. And the average time is 34 minutes and 3 seconds, which is actually slightly slower than quite a lot of the park runs which we've done recently. Those are some incredible stats which have been set by people at Oaklands Estate Reserve Park Run. But now it's time to take a look at my GoPro stats. Starting off with the number of park runs done, which is now 81. The number of locations is 58, and that is at 11 different countries, so we're doing well so far with our tourism. My best finish position is 4th, and that was set in Poland's Zielony Jar, and my fastest times range from 22:32 to 23:09. So those are the times which I am aiming to beat, and hopefully one day we can get them back on this leaderboard. And now we have got to the section which you have all been waiting for, Oaklands Estate Reserve Park Run number 200. So let's get down to the run. And as you can see, it is a pretty busy one to begin with. It's all pretty compact and it is a very small tarmac path which you can run on. So you've got to try and get on there as quick as is possible. But we are going to be setting off in just 5 seconds. So in 3, 2, 1, we are off and the park run has begun. So let's see what time we can get today at this park run. So we're currently on the verge, but you do need to make sure you get onto the path by the time you hit the bridge. Otherwise you'll be running straight into the river/culvert, which is obviously something you don't want to do. But if you want any information on my split times or on the elevation, then you can check out my Strava, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. But as you can see, really nice straight start, all on tarmac paths. So let's see how we get on. So it is pretty early on where you're going to turn off to the right hand side. This is maybe an ever so slight elevation here in this section, and you'll be crossing the footbridge over that river/culvert. Make sure to keep off to the left hand side in this section, as there could be public coming down the right hand side, and also you're going to be turning left too, so it's going to be a little bit easier for you as well. And now we're going to be heading down alongside the river until we hit the south point, and we'll be then doing a U-turn. Half a kilometre in, running at a pace of about 4:42, and the person there in first position is flying. What's quite good about this park run is there's not actually too many public people to look out for. However, there sometimes is a few cyclists, so do be wary of them as they might be coming at a little bit of pace, as this is also a cycle path. But we're doing all right at the moment. You can see just down here, people are beginning to do the U-turn. So once you've done this U-turn, you're then heading your way all the way up to the north, but following this same culvert. So there's a little cone here. I don't think there was a volunteer. No, there wasn't a volunteer. So do make sure you turn around that cone if you are in first position. Otherwise, everyone's going to follow you and you'll be running for ages along the river. But now we're heading all the way back up to the northern side of this river. But if you're finding this review useful, do make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you are new, as it does go a long way to supporting this channel as we try and build our way up towards 200 subscribers. And if we can keep at this pace, I'll be pretty happy, and hopefully I should get an Aussie PB. 1 kilometre in with a time of 4 minutes and 42 seconds, and we've literally just passed the bridge which we crossed a bit earlier on. So now we're into the northern section. The people at the front are flying, they'll come past us in just a moment, but you may have noticed a bit further down that it does get pretty congested, so make sure to only overtake if you know you've got time to and if you've got the space to too. Otherwise you're going to be running head on into traffic coming in the opposite direction. It is all still flat, so there's nothing to say about that. It's just good news that it is all still flat. However, it's just the U-turns at the moment which are slowing us down ever so slightly. And again, it was a nice day because it wasn't too warm. It was like the perfect temperature. It is a little bit cloudy, so obviously we prefer it with a bit of the sun, but obviously that comes with it getting a bit warmer too. And I definitely recommend checking out the wetlands too, which is very close to the start line, as that has got some beautiful wildlife there, like the birds, and I think it's got fish and other things in the ponds too, / the wetlands. So let's keep this up and hopefully we'll get a quick time. And now we are coming up towards that second U-turn on the other end. So again, it's just a cone which you can run around, and now you're heading your way back up towards the north. So you're going back towards that bridge where you'll be turning off to the left-hand side. And you have to let me know what you think of this park run. Have you ever completed Oaklands Estate Reserve Park Run, and what was your best time, and what are your favourite park runs here in Australia too? As I'm going to be here for a year, so it'd be great to know some of your favourite spots. We're now coming up towards the 2 kilometre mark, and you'll see us cutting off to the left now to cross the bridge. Now on a wet day, you may need to be a little bit careful here, especially if you're in road shoes, as it could get a little bit slippy. I can't remember whether it had a grip on it or not. And also do make sure to watch out for the 2 bollards, one on either side, because you don't want to catch your nads on that one. But you can see now that we are back in the park, close to where we started, back to the tight paths too. So this one I'd say is even tighter than the path on the opposite side of the bridge. It was quite funny actually, on the day they were doing some sort of archaeological sort of education on that right hand side there too. I don't know if if happens every week or whether it's just an event that would happen to be on the day, but I saw loads of kids doing that, so that looks really good fun. But hopefully we can keep at this pace at 4:47 and try and get an Aussie PB, which maybe we can get under 25 minutes. So let's keep this up. There's the person in first position flying round, but we're about to turn off to the right hand side and head our way towards lap number 2. So these paths are pretty bendy and windy, which you may have just seen. They sort of snake a little bit, so do make sure you're wary of what's going on. And then you're going to be doing the U-turn around the cone. So that is the third U-turn, which you've had to do so far. So we're definitely losing some time there doing those U-turns. And then you're heading your way back on the snaky path towards where we started. So that is half the park run done and half the park run to go. So you can see it was getting a bit more congested there towards the end as the big packs come through on the opposite side of the path. Thankfully, it's not too busy. I feel like if this one had 500 runners, it could get a bit manic. However, on the day, I think there was only 250 to 300, so a lot less than the likes of Paca Bacanthe, which we've done so far, and Centennial. Still flat, all on hard standing, and we're going to be doing the exact same thing again now, and I'll be telling you all about my split times to see what sort of time we can get. But if we keep this up, I'll be pretty happy. Three kilometers down and 2 kilometers to go. So we ran that previous one in a time of 4 minutes and 48 seconds. So far, we are pacing ourselves really well. Obviously, it will go up to 5.2k in that bottom right-hand corner because I'm using my phone, so it's a little bit jagged, the lines, compared to when you use a watch. Snaking around now towards the south side of the river where we'll be doing that U-turn and heading our way back up towards the north. But we're doing well. It's opened up a little bit now, so it's a little bit more spacious too, so you don't need to worry about trying to overtake people. But here we go, around the bend, and hopefully we can keep this up as we go for up to the north. So with around 1.5 kilometers to go, we are still doing well, running at around a 4:50 pace. But one thing I did notice with this park run is the birds. So in the UK, you obviously get the pigeons, the robins, maybe the magpies, sparrows, that sort of thing, and they're not that loud. But there were some loud cockatoos here, I have to say. I think it's cockatoos, the white birds with like the yellow Mohican on the top. They were squawking throughout the whole run, but it's really cool running through the Australian wildlife, I do have to say. And if you're interested in what to do in Adelaide, I've actually got a second channel, which is at Sheppy10. I'll leave a link to it in the description below, and that has vlogs from all of the different activities which we have done, which includes feeding kangaroos and wallabies, which was really cute, and stroking koalas too. So I have to say, it is an amazing experience here in Adelaide, and you really get to see all of the wildlife. With just under 1 kilometer to go, we end that previous split at a pace of 4:53. So pretty happy with how we are getting on at the moment, and hopefully we should get a sub 25, although it is going to be a pretty close one by the looks of it. As you can see, it is spread out loads, so there's a massive gap between me and the person in front of me, so I don't really want to let that happen, because if I do let that happen, then I won't have the urge to do that sprint finish, which I love. And also, you can't wait for this sprint finish, because honestly, this sprint finish, it was me and this other guy, and you'll see it in just a moment what happens. It was hilarious, and thankfully they found it funny at the end too, so you'll have to wait and see what happens. And so that is the last time which we have to cross that river. So the river section is completely done now, and it is just this final section to go. So we're starting to pick up the pace again, running at around a 4:50. So we've managed to pick it up ever so slightly. But this is when it starts getting congested. So you're having to sort of weave in and out because there's people obviously coming back that way, and there's also people running with you too. So do make sure to try and keep to your side. So if you're running this way, keep to the left, and if you're going the opposite way, keep to your left as well. So always make sure to remember, keep to the left at this park run, otherwise you have the risk of running into people. There's the run director, making sure it is all going okay. And we're going to be turning off to the right in a moment, and then it is the final sprint finish to the end. So as you can see, it is getting very congested in this section, so do be very wary because you have to sort of go off to the left or the right hand side to get around the people, otherwise you will run into others. You can see just how busy this gets, especially if there's public walking too. Look at that, weaving in and out of the people, so I'll be surprised if sometimes they don't actually get collisions there because it does get very, very busy. And here is the U-turn. Thankfully we've managed to catch up with someone in front of us too there, the PARKRUN 100 top man. So hopefully we can get past them too, as I like to sort of challenge myself to try and beat the person in front of me. And so we have managed to slip past them there right at the end, and it is now the sprint finish, having to slip off to the left. The pace in the bottom right, you can see, has gone up to around 4:30. So if we keep like this, we will do well. But PARKRUN 100 top has slipped past us, but hopefully we can get around him right at the end. Here we go, it's the big sprint finish, both of us going for it. What's going to happen here? Oh, it's a trip, it's a fall. He's fallen. I quickly checked, it was okay. He said carry on, that's fine. And I got to the finish line. Fist pumps there to him because he pushed me on to the end. He went for it as well. So I did make sure to check he was okay. Quick high five too, and all was good. So he managed to get a time there of 24 minutes and 51 seconds, as you've already seen, and a position of just 43rd. So not bad at all. There you go, position number 43. So now we're going to sit and wait for Beth to finish. But what a sprint finish there with PARKRUN number 100 top. So fair play to him. I hope he does get to see it too, because he did fall over and it was pretty hilarious. But now we're going to take you through a summary of Oaklands Estate Reserve PARKRUN. Oaklands Estate Reserve PARKRUN complete, ticking off just our second O which we have ever done. So that was Ormau in Belfast, and then Oaklands Estate Reserve was number 2. So that also helped actually with my Namely challenge, as I was able to tick off my second O too. So now all I'm looking for is an I. So let me know down in the comment section below which I PARKRUN is your favourite. Also, it is a nice and flat park run, this one, so if you're looking for a PB, there is definitely a potential. There are probably quicker ones though in and around Adelaide. Packapacanthe may be slightly quicker than this one because of all the U-turns, which slows you down, and it is quite busy too, so you have to sort of go in and out, but I definitely have to say this is one of the faster ones in and around Adelaide. In terms of the busyness, as you can see, it was fairly busy, but not to the point where it was stopping you at all throughout the run. And then in terms of the scenery, it is a stunning park run, running around the wetlands, and then I definitely recommend checking out the actual main bit of the wetlands after, which is just north of the car park, as there's loads of wildlife in around there. You can probably sit down, have a little bit of food if you want to have a picnic there, or do whatever. And everyone was really in high spirits for PARKRUN number 200, and I want to say a massive thank you to all of the volunteers who were there on the day, because without them the PARKRUN could not go ahead. They did a cracking job putting us in the right direction, and they were all in real high spirits as they were celebrating event number 200. But now, as we always do, it is time to take a look through some of the pinch points. So these are the points which are going to slow you down at this park run. Starting off with number 1, which is congested. So this park run is obviously pretty compact. You can see the paths aren't too wide, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to overtake, and also you have to wind in and out of people too, so that is going to slow your time down. And then the only other one is the U-turn / sharp turn. So with those U-turns, it takes a couple of seconds off your time each time, and you end up doing 6 U-turns throughout the whole of the run. So that's at least 6 seconds, which you have lost just there. So apart from that, it is really quick, especially with a hard compacted path. and also because of how flat the park run is. And now the next section is for all of those who are thinking of coming to this park run. So here are a few tips and tricks on how to get there and also where to go for that post-park run coffee, starting off with public transport. So if you want to get to this park run via train, then the closest train station is the Marion train station. So that's only a 9-minute walk to the start. So it is really easy to get here via train, especially if you're from the north side. It's a nice quick route down to the south. And then they also have trams here in Adelaide. However, there's not really a tram which is close to this park run. The closest one though is on the Glenelg line, and that is Plympton Park Stop, which is a 14-minute bus from there or a 44-minute walk. So I definitely don't really recommend getting the tram. Then next up is the buses. So the buses do actually stop fairly close to the park run, and the closest one is called the Oaklands Road Stop 22B. So from there, it is just an 8-minute walk, and I'll leave a list of all of the different buses which you can take if you did want to get to this stop. So that could be an option, especially if you live near to one of those lines. And then finally, if you have got a car and you're thinking of driving to this park run, then I definitely recommend doing it, as there is plenty of parking on site, especially within the wetlands itself and also along the parade, Minchinbury Terrace, and also Bombay Street too. And the average is probably about a 5-minute walk from those parking spots to the start line. So you can't really complain about that. And then finally, the most important bit of the park run, where to go for that post-park run coffee and cake. So everyone from this park run meets up at the Strappers Cafe, which is actually quite far from the start. So it's about a 28-minute walk to get there. There's no cafes really in the actual wetlands area themselves, so you do have to go out of the wetland area to go for that post-park run coffee. However, I do recommend going. We didn't have time to go on the day, however, I have heard good things. And so those are all of my tips and tricks for this park run. However, if you do have any of your own, make sure to let us know down in the comments section below, as sometimes the course changes or the best bus stop, train station, cafe. Let me know down in the comment section below so I can pin it up to the top so that everyone else can see the updates too. But now it's time to update our GoPro stats. So the number of park runs obviously increases to 82 and the number of locations up to 59. Everything else stays the same though. My best finish position and my fastest times all remain. However, the fact we got a sub 25 is a new Aussie PB. So buzzing about that, and hopefully next week we can cut that time down by even more. But if you did enjoy this one, I definitely recommend going and checking out Packabacanthe Park Run, which we did last week. So that one is again a really nice and flat, quick one, just around the outskirts of the Adelaide CBD. Or you can go and check out all of my other park runs in the Worldwide Park Run playlist, which has them from Australia, Asia, and Europe. So plenty of park runs to go and watch there. Next week, we're going to be heading over to Belair National Park, which is actually known for spotting kangaroos. So I'm hoping to see one for the very first time, so I'm very excited about that. But if you did enjoy this one, please do smash that like button and subscribe if you are new, as we get a park run out each week, and it goes a long way to supporting the channel too. And I'll see you all next week with another park run.